So today we're going to talk about 529 account and what the changes you need to know after the Secure Act of 2.0. So normally I help my retired clients that sometimes they have grandchildren or children that they want to help with their college savings account. So we use 529 accounts as one of those strategies for college savings account. Now, prior to the Secure Act, it was always the Secure Act 2.0. Prior to this, it was always kind of a challenge of how much money can we put in or should we put in so that we don't overfund the 529 account. And why overfunding? Because prior to the Secure Act 2.0, there's only two things basically we can do with it. Either one, if the child doesn't use the fund because for some reason they don't go to college, or we overfund the 529 account, we can only change the beneficiary, as the owner will always be the client, or in that sense the parent or grandparents are the owner of the account, and the beneficiary is the recipient of the 529 funds in that sense, with grandchildren or children. We can always change the beneficiary. So if one grandchild does not fully use the 529 account funds that's inside that account, then we can change the beneficiary and then the other grandchild can use the funds. That's one of the options. The second option, of course, was just to make a non-qualified withdrawal, meaning that qualified means that it will be not subject to penalty and taxation if we use it for educational purpose. If it's not used for educational purpose, for example, you go out and grab the money and go buy yourself a boat, or you use it for traveling expenses, that now will be subject to penalties and taxation, federal taxation. Okay, so prior to Secure Act 2.0, those were kind of like the two options. Now there is a huge planning opportunity because funds in a 529 account that is not being used, either you don't need, there's no need to transfer to the next grandchild, and we've already exhausted per se what we needed for college education, that fund now can be transferred to a Roth account. Of course, the registration from the beneficiary has to be the same with the registration of the Roth account. So at this point, there are some limitations about it. This will go into effect in 2024. But let me also tell you what else you need to take into account. These are, accounts that has been open for a long period of time. So the account has to be at least open for 15 years. The funds that can be transferred are funds that have been made a contribution more than 5 years ago. And on top of that, the amount that we can transfer per year is $6,500, which is the limit, the Roth contribution limit for that year, $6,500 at this point. And the maximum amount over the lifetime that can be transferred from the 529 account to the Roth account is $35,000. Regardless, this is basically gives away the guessing of how much money are we going to overfund into 529 account for a grandparent that says, you know what, I'm going to put $5,000 or $10,000, whatever the amount that is, and that amount now, there's no fear that they're overfunding the 529, because if a child is 2-3 years old, as soon as they were born, they've already had this account for at least 15 years already, and they've made that contribution. Last contribution was made more than 5 years ago, and that funds then can be perfectly used for transferring over to a Roth account, so it can continue without any taxation, move over from the 529 account to the Roth and continue to be in the state of that child. Now, this is, of course, a little bit more complicated, and you kind of want to look for your situation if this is applicable. So I'd be more than happy to have a quick call with you or a no-cost consultation. My contact information is in the description below. If you like the content and information, please consider, and that will be a huge honor for you to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching. Till next time.